welcome to Midweek, Experiments in Faithfulness. This is a weekly facilitated spiritual practice with a Quaker flavor and an experimental ethos. My name is Brent, and I am the Program and Engagement Manager here at Beacon Hill Friends House, which is a center for a Quaker center for learning and action, and a residential community of about 20 people who live according to Quaker values. Tonight, we have Cai Quirk with the practice Letter to Your Younger Self. We grow up, we change, we transform, we experience new versions of ourselves. What is lost along the way? What is found along the way? What did your younger self need to hear that never got said? Let's travel back in time together to help our younger self heal and let that healing flow through our lives to the present as we become more grounded in our deepest selves. This practice will include sharing a letter that Cai wrote to their younger self, a guided meditation for you to connect to your younger self, and then a chance to write your own letter. Now, I am excited to introduce you to Cai. Cai Quirk is a genderqueer, gender-fluid artist who connects gender, mythology, restoryation, and nature-based spirituality through photos, poems, and stories. Cai's work has been featured in Friends Journal, QuakerSpeak, and with many talks for Quaker communities around the country. To see more, including their book and other art, you can go to caiquirk.com. Cai, it is all yours.
Wonderful. Welcome, friends. Tonight we'll be exploring an aspect of restoration, looking at connecting to our younger selves and the ways that we have experienced the world, the ways that we can transform our view of the world, the ways that we might see things differently now than when we grew up. There are many aspects of the world that can be harmful, that can be challenging, that may have caused harm to our younger selves. And with restoration and reframing ways that we look at things, a friend of mine who describes this as the closest we have to time travel, to go back in time to provide the healing that we might have wished we could have gotten when we were younger, provide that to our younger selves, and have that healing then carry forward through our lives to where we are now. In a bit, I will share a letter that I wrote to my younger self, and then we will go into a guided meditation that will kind of just be a seamless transition, and then an opportunity for folks to write a letter to your younger self. That letter does not have to be in full grammatical sentences. It can be a poem, it can be a word dump, it can be, there's a variety of ways that it can show up, however you are led. But giving that context now for kind of as we ease into the practice. The word restoration brings several pieces together. Like the word restoration, it is restoration assumes that there is something there that that was almost lost but can be brought forward. It can be found again and understood again, brought to the present day. Restoration looks at the ways that there are a variety of stories that have been lost throughout time, throughout oppression, and in various ways that we can yet create new stories that are connected to the strands of ancient ones, even when the threads have been broken along the way. For me, I look at this in particular in relation to queerness and ways that I experience the world as a queer person, but restoration can exist in many different ways in various people's lives. But queerness is a particular theme in my work, and that'll be part of the letter that I'm sharing tonight, but that doesn't have to be your theme in relation to the restoration. This is also something that is active. Some of the places where stories have been lost are not just going to heal themselves. It's not going to just suddenly pop up something new. And so engaging in practices like this are a part of the healing and a part of the reclaiming self in a world that doesn't want us to. In capitalist society, we are encouraged to be close to being like machines, and we're not, we're human. And so that is a part of how we so the restoration is a part of how we reclaim the pieces that are ourselves. And there are many ways that this can show up, but these are some of the examples. So in a moment, I will be sharing the letter to my younger self that I wrote when I was a few years ago. And in that, I invite you to listen as the words come and to let them flow through your mind. Find the pieces that are resonating for you, let others flow by that don't resonate so much, and let it start to connect you more deeply to a younger self at whatever age that might be. And for some people, this might come easier than others. I invite folks to not feel a sense of worry or shame if it doesn't come easily at first. Worry and shame are ways that, in causing tension and anxiety, can make it harder to connect. And so just letting the words flow through, and again, letting those pieces connect that do, other pieces flow by. The letter will ease into a guided meditation at the end with more spaciousness to allow folks to dig more deeply and connect more deeply to their younger selves, and then folks will have a chance to write what is rising that you would like to share with your younger self. As I do in many workshops and such that I lead, if the prompt does not exactly resonate, you're welcome to shift the prompt. I did this summer in a workshop, and I sat down to write, and it turned out that my younger self wanted to write a letter to me. So you can adapt it however is needed. Part of this is also listening to what our inner teacher wants us to hear, and whether that's us at our current age, us as our younger self, however the inner teacher is rising, however spirit is rising, this is all an invitation towards letting that all rise and not having to be that machine that follows the exact directions. So I give that as context for spaciousness, creativity, and listening to spirit. This letter that I'm about to share rose from a period of time when I was especially exploring, enabling, and allowing my gender fluidity, and finding the ways that nature around me was showing various aspects of queerness and of fluidity, having that be a part of allowing and enabling my younger self to live into that more, and providing to my younger self some of the things that I wish I could have grown up with. And so giving that and allowing the healing to carry forward. And with that, I will settle into a moment of silence and share the letter out of that. Dear little one, you are perfect just as you are. And yes, the just as you are changes every day. Not everyone is like this, yet you are not the only one. Few among humans, many among nature. Look at the trees, those that change with the seasons, the maple you sit in to read, the hickory you visit when others hurt you, the oak you sleep under sometimes in the summer. They all change. Even the hemlocks and white pine that frame the stream. Did you know they go through phases too? Just watch this spring, when the pollen blows on the wind and pine cones begin to form. And in the autumn, when needles turn brown and fall, leaving the rest glossier than before. Sweet one, you are not a machine, something to do the same and be the same day in and day out. If the people have forgotten, turn to the trees and the wind and the water. You are being raised by them too. Just listen to the stream whose sounds change after even the smallest rainfall, going from trickle to torrent with a summer storm. When you walk along the banks or splash in the flow, you'll find waterfalls and wide pools, deep gullies, and slow ribbons of clear water wandering through the rocks. Wander amongst them yourself and wonder, what might this stone have been like many years ago? Stones change too, their faces smoothed by the water as they change the water's own course. So learn, dear one, but do not despair of the human world, for they grow and learn too, even though many do not ebb and flow as you do. You are so lucky to live in this generation, though it may not seem that way yet. The tide is turning, returning to the shore it left many years ago, a time when people like you were not only accepted, but honored for the unique gifts they bring to the world. And you bring so many gifts. They will be needed in this tide. The gifts do not mean your path will be easy. This is a hard path you walk. There will be pain, words and fists thrown your way, but with spirit by your side, you will get through. In this time of tides, of turning and change, you won't just survive, you'll thrive. This thriving too is in the manner of trees. Roots grounded in the bedrock of divine love, spirit coursing through your veins. Cycles flow, bud, blossom, and fruit, the seeds tucked deep. Your music, your words, your imaginings call forth this new life, sown in hearts and minds. A Pied Piper calling drops of water to flow ahead of the tide, those drops catching others and bringing them along. Beloved one, you will not be understood by all. Do not try to change yourself for them. Do not try to fit in a narrow box. You are more glorious than any one box. Others are too in different ways, though they may not know it yet. This knowing has been waylaid by a world of machines, boxes, and ladders, and by people who think we must fit in these rigid forms. You will try this for a little while, try out different boxes. Though it may feel like being waylaid yourself at times, do not be discouraged. This part of your journey is about learning to understand many points of view, to be able to speak in different languages, even though they may all be in English. To be a piper and draw folks along in new ideas or old forgotten ones, you'll need to meet people where they are. Your roles will be many, a constellation rather than a single star in the night sky. Mediator, translator, facilitator, interpreter, bridge, go-between, catalyst, messenger, piper, creator, sower of seeds, advocator, agitator, healer, intuition guide, spirit walker. Your place is in the middle, though others may perceive this middle as far on the edge, and there are many other middles out there. You are in the middle of not only different groups of people, but also between humans and nature, in the spaces between the past and present and future, understanding pieces of many communities across times and between what is and what could be. So much could be, beautiful one. Learn the lessons of spirit, of the trees and the water, even of the people who cross your path. Though what you learn from people may be different from what they are trying to teach. Most importantly, imagine, little one. Sink down into the arms of divine love and imagine the world we could live in. The slight shifts from society today that open whole new realms of possibilities and of freedom. These visions will carry you, carry others with you on the journey. You are not alone. Your shining brilliance and joy for life peeks through the cracks even now, and we can see it. Me and the spirit guides that are always with you, that are with me now. Let the joy and wonder fly free. Follow and be followed in the journey. Be the piper of today. I invite folks to take a few moments to receive this, to find the parts that resonate with you. And if you haven't already started connecting with a younger version of yourself, I invite you to give them an invitation. Give your younger self an invitation to join you somewhere. Maybe that's an abstract place. Maybe it's a place from your memory, from your childhood, or something you imagine, an open field or a forest. Sometimes all they need is an invitation, a welcoming to join you. Perhaps you decide to sit on a bench together in a park or walk along a forest path. And I invite you first to just be present with your younger self. No words are needed yet, after the invitation. And I invite you to give space for your younger self to share what is rising for them. Maybe some gentle questions. Maybe a simple, how are you doing? What is alive for you right now? This might come in words, or you might be able to sense feelings or emotions. What does your youngest self most need right now? This may be a listening ear, maybe a hug, holding hands as you walk along that forest path or wherever you are right now. Maybe your younger self has some questions for you, or some worries, some things that are heavier than they can hold on their own. What does your younger self most need to hear? We'll take some time to continue in this space, being present with your younger self. And maybe things will stay internal, and maybe you'll find yourself led to write out some of the things your younger self needs to hear. This can be in a letter format or a poem, word and sentence fragments, whatever is rising for you. What does your younger self most need to hear to heal and grow and transform?